Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 440 of Season 3, Episode 23, and this is going to be super duper short, probably, because I have like next to no notes. It was a very combat heavy chapter, which is like the usual kind of chapter you have very few notes for, because like a majority of the panels, instead of like giving us lore or like dialogue or anything that would require me to discuss it a lot, it's mostly a lot of panels of people punching people. Very beautiful panels, I might add. The art was really, really good this week. But yeah, either way, we have basically just two scenes. The first scene between Mule and Yama here. So we learn what was shot out of the armor, and it was the armor's nucleus, which can be used as a bomb. So how does the armor run without it? Who knows, but either way, that's the way it works. So Yama tries to bluff and be like, why do I care if you blow up the innocent civilians? But he gets called on his bluff, and I actually love Yama. Yama's the best part of this arc, the best part of this chapter. Something that I really, really like is that he has these consistent reasons. His writing is done really well, actually. He has consistent reasons for his actions, consistent principles. So that from the beginning of this arc until now, he's sort of put on this big air of being the tough guy or whatever, but he can still be the tough guy and care about his citizens, care about civilians, have actual principles and morals. So it's good to see this cool, badass guy, but he can still be cool and a badass and be like, okay, yeah, this is cool, don't blow up the bomb, I don't want you to kill innocent people. In fact, that to me makes him even more cool of a guy, that he's willing to have priorities. He's willing to put his principles over his pride, because at the end of the day, what would, like, snarling back and being like, oh, I would never kneel to you, what would that gain him? Yama is written as a character who is smart enough to realize, okay, who cares? Yeah, I'll get down on my knees. Fine, you can have my Slayer seat. I don't care that much. It's not worth getting innocent people killed over. Which still makes him more badass, where he's like, if you break this promise and hurt anyone, I'm going to kill you. That makes him even more badass, because it's like, yeah, I could kill you, but I'm choosing not to kill you because I don't want these innocent people to die. So I love that. It makes him still badass because he totally could kill Mule, and it also makes him smart and makes him seem like a really good guy because he has his morals, and he's smart enough to prioritize those morals over his own pride, because at the end of the day, what's pride really gonna get him? So I really, really like that. But we get information that Kelhelm wants a cold-hearted slayer. We see a quick scene of Kelhelm on the way there. And we have this really weird transition, just kind of jarring, straight from that to Gatto's point of view. And I like Doom here, whereas Paul's like, come on, why are you getting hit by a rugrat? Can't you beat him? We see Doom actually throughout the chapter sort of looking at Bomb, thinking things through, and trying to get a grasp on things and understand things. Again, it makes it feel like Doom has a little bit of depth there, a little bit of thought to him, which I really like. So then pretty much Bomb just wins the fight without using the thorn. The art for it was amazing, but the actual story behind it, I feel like it's pretty predictable that Bomb's just going to wax this guy's ass pretty much. Like, Bomb destroyed him. We've seen it time and time again, where some guy comes up to him, he's like, oh, you mere insert thing here, whether it's like insert rank or regular or whatever, oh, you can't possibly beat me, and then he completely trounces the guy, and everybody's like, oh, I can't believe a mere regular or C rank or whatever could do that. We see it time and time again, and we saw it time again this time. So yeah, I feel like it doesn't really help Bomb's character any. It was a cool fight, the art was amazing, but it doesn't really just progress Bomb much, because it's the same old that we've been seeing. A guy comes up, challenges him, he trounces him. Same thing. And then at the very end, Gatto challenges Bomb, which is something I think is going to be more interesting. The potential stories that they can tell coming off of that. Now, somebody did mention though I saw one of the top comments when I was reading the chapter for the live reaction. Once I got finished with it, they said something about Kanzone coming back, and that got me thinking of this Kanzone thing is a good example of what I was saying in my criticisms video back when I did that. When I talked about some things just being like when they show up nowadays and you're like, why should I care about this? Because odds are they aren't going to be important. That's another one of those things. We spent a lot of time on stuff like Jalulu and Louis, who I do think are coming back and will be important later on, but at least for the past like 10 or so chapters we've seen like none of them at all. But we spent a lot of time on characters like Kanhong, who had really good potential, or Kanzone, and who I didn't really like much. But the point is, we spent time on them for them to, because Kanhong's probably dead, for them to not really mean much of anything. So it's like when we get these new characters, it's like, why should I care? Because they're probably not going to mean much of anything. And it's like, in hindsight, if they weren't going to mean much of anything, why spend so much time on them when we could have developed characters who've been around for a while, or characters who will be around for a while? So yeah, just the Kanzone comment got me thinking. That's a good example of what I mean by there are certain things that show up in Tower of God that you're like, why should I care about this? Because you know at this point from reading this long that it's probably not leading anywhere. But yeah, some general thoughts after that. There wasn't really anything important to bring up in the blog post, I didn't think. This whole chapter was basically a Masaka, the chapter. Yeah, just one of those reactions like, oh, how could a regular do this? The chapter. But yeah, I loved the Yama stuff because I love how sort of consistently written Yama's character is, and how it has that depth of him putting on this bravado, but him really caring about people. But even though he cares about people, he is still a totally strong person. He's just smart enough to prioritize. So Yama, I think, is a really interesting, deep, and well-written character. The bomb stuff, though, not as much. It was just rinse and repeat. Same old, we've seen it. So yeah, 7.5 fusion cores out of 10, because that's pretty much what the bomb is. And like, how does the power armor work without the fusion core that Mule's got going? Either way, whatever. 7.5 fusion cores out of 10. Like I said, I really enjoyed reading the bomb stuff. I mean, like, from a critical standpoint, it's just whatever. But I love the Yama stuff, both reading it and from a critical standpoint. I actually really like the Yama stuff. So yeah, 7.5 fusion cores out of 10. I enjoyed it, hope you did too. Like if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. I actually thought I was going to give it a lower score than that, but just rereading the Yama stuff and taking notes made me like appreciate the chapter even more, so I kind of bumped up the score a little from there. Yeah, I said like, comment, subscribe for more Tower of God and more. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you up to date and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. If you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, just ask and then give you a link. And if you want to help support the channel on Patreon and pick a new series to cover weekly on the channel once every 3 months, then a link to the Patreon will be in the description. It'd be super helpful, of course. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.